dear God, no. What did they do to my baby? She's been murdered. Oh, that's not good. Oh my God, that is horrible. Let's have a chat about this one. How's it going, everybody? My name's Chipper, and welcome back to another video on Escape from Tarkov. Well, in today's video, we're going to be going over patch 12.11.5. Now, normally I don't go over patch notes or anything like that. There's a lot of other content creators and YouTubers that go over this sort of stuff. However, there was one thing in particular that actually caught my eye, and that was single fire rate limitation. Now, let us flick over quickly here to the desktop. And as you can see in the patch notes here, the one that caught my eye the most was added the maximum single fire rate parameter for all weapons. I do want to stress that this says all weapons. So that to me means that there is like a hard fixed cap for all weapons. So it's not like there's single fire rate limitations for each individual gun. All weapons have this thing. So I was like, I wonder what that actually means in game. And I was probably going to be more concerned about when it came to, say, the Saiga 12, which is a favorite of mine, which I know I can rapid fire click this. I mean, if you're a fan of the YouTube channel, you know that I absolutely love the fire rate of the Saiga, especially when paired with Flechette. It really does make the gun insanely powerful. So I wanted to do some testing and comparison between the two to see what actually unfolded, and it kind of was a bit alarming, which I'll dive into the hideout in a second so you can actually see what I mean. Alrighty, so let's quickly dive into some into the hideout and actually show these guns in action since the change. However, first I wanted to show you from an old video that I did not too long ago with the Saiga 12 left Flechette rounds to show you how powerful it was back then with the single fire rate. Obviously there'll be some talk over here from my previous video. However, it will showcase just how crazy the fire rate was and how controllable it was at that fire rate. Then we're going to skip back into this video and then show you what it's like now. There's no increased recoil stat. So there's the Magnum buckshot and the AP20 rounds have really high recoil increase, whereas you don't get that with these rounds. So even if we just go point blank here, as you can see, if you were shooting that fast and that rapidly in an opponent, there's a good chance you're going to aim punch them to oblivion. And even if you're crouching down and shooting a little bit further, it is insanely destructive. Alrighty, so after that, let's dive into the actual hideout now and show you what it's like now. So let's just aim for this target down there and fire as fast as we can. Now, did you guys notice there's at least two distinctive points there when I was firing that there was pausing and then the gun started firing? That causes the reticle to kick high up. Like, look how high I had some of the shrapnel shots going this time round. And this is the big thing that's changed with this overall change that they've done with the fire rate. And in my opinion, is quite concerning. The pauses to almost like hinder your ability to fire rapid fire, like as in pulling your fire rate back if you're clicking too much, really does hurt you. So what's actually happening here is that the initial recoil, just like a full auto gun, has an initial kick high up and then it will level out. But because the fire rate is being capped off, you're getting that initial kick as if you're firing like a full automatic gun again, and then it levels off, but it keeps doing it halfway through the firing animation. So because of that, you're getting this weird recoil spray like you see here. So it's punishing you if you're clicking too quickly. If we level off the fire rate, notice the shots are considerably more controlled. and accurate. So let's just try that one more time with a slightly slower fire rate. Look how centered all those shots are once we control the fire rate. But yet, when we're trying to rapid fire it as quickly as possible, well, it helps if I actually have ammo. That was me trying to go as hard as I possibly could, and look at the difference. So this is something that you guys need to be mindful of. Now also too, our favorite here, the M1A, suffers from the same thing. I should be able to shoot around here. Whatever it does, it just slows the fire rate and then it catches up, and that's really brutal for accuracy. So let's go again with like limiting our fire rate. Considerably better, but you've got to slow your fire rate. So this is probably the biggest takeaway that I can think of coming from this video. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to bring out the TX15. I know that the TX15 didn't really have the... It already had like a soft cap compared to the 8R. However, even the TX15 has been affected. So let's try and aim around here on the wall. Now this is under full rapid fire, as quickly as I can. See, this is exactly what I'm starting to say. See how you're starting to get this high rise? Because of the pausing your shots, you don't get the consistency that you used to. Now let's try and control it slightly. Or with this just to the right of it, but this time I'm going to limit my fire rate. Okay, so that's one test. So what we're going to do now is another test. I'm going to start slow. And then I'm going to ramp up again and halfway through the clip. Okay? Now we're going to go full auto. There you go. The pausing and the braking that you get in between your shots is significantly impacting your accuracy now. This is the biggest thing I wanted to get a video out to you guys to highlight. Not only are single fire rate guns significantly nerfed in my opinion because they're one, inconsistent with their fire rate, as sometimes they can fire faster and then slower, and also two, the accuracy can be wildly kicked up, which means it's going to provide inconsistency when you're trying to especially go for headshots, for example. So I hate to say it, but in 12.11.5, full auto meta may have just been buffed up even more as the go-to. Single fire rate at the moment doesn't look appealing. The Saiga doesn't appear to be affected as badly as the M1A. I think the M1A feels very inconsistent compared to where it used to be. The TX15 isn't too bad. Like I said, if you do limit the fire rate, it's not too bad. But yeah, there's definitely been some single fire rate nerfs. The 8R in particular will suffer pretty heavily here, as well as the M1A. So two of my favorite guns probably in Escape from Tarkov. Especially probably one of my favorite weapons is the Saiga 12. Look, I get it. I mean, it was pretty crazy how much I could fire this gun. Like, I get it. It was pretty crazy, the fire rate that I could pump out of this gun. I managed to be able to absolutely rapid fire the Saiga 12, and with Flechette, it was just absolutely brutal. So I don't know what to make of it. To be honest, I'm not exactly happy about the change, but it is just something that's been put into the game. I think in terms of like cheaters and stuff like that, it is a prevention meta there. it's just something that we're going to have to be mindful of now, and it is going to mean that when you're using these guns, you can't just rapid fire spam them anymore and rely on just hitting the cap. If you hit that cap, it's going to cause the kick down of the fire rate, which will then reset your accuracy of your gun, and it will rise significantly higher. So make sure when you're using single fire guns that you slow down your fire rate just maybe a tad, depending on obviously your native ability to click the mouse. If you didn't really have this problem in the past, then you're probably not going to be affected too much, but I would highly recommend testing out in the hideout just to make sure that your favorite builds are actually working as intended and that you feel comfortable with them. So that's pretty much it, guys. Now, don't forget, guys, I do stream on Twitch Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you guys want to discuss this sort of stuff during a live stream, I would love to see you guys jump in and let's discuss it further. Obviously, that this doesn't necessarily mean it's a final change. BSG can make some changes to increase like the hard limit just a little bit to maybe prevent this wacky high recoil stop that occurs, causing the guns to become more inaccurate. So it's just something to just be mindful of. I don't really like the fact that it's hard limited all guns, because this will affect all single fire rate guns. I think it would be better that each individual gun has its own limit, because I think that would be a bit more accurate. But I mean, I know that's a lot more work, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a gun expert here. I think we need some, maybe a little bit more advice on that one, to, you know, from actual some professionals in the real world when it comes to firearms, whether or not that should be a thing. But anyway, guys, I thought I'd get this out there. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys back out there.